Good evening. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. Let me introduce Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Good evening.
Asshole.
Hey, the internet.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen. I just want to say, one of these days you're going to knock him out when you do that.
Well, he was trying to get his head over where I'd hit him.
You know, he
Then
does
I'm the
this
aggrieved
karate chop trying to count the seconds.
Well, he complained he could feel the wind from my hand, so I thought I'd emphasize
Even
that.
without the wind.
Just
Like I can't count 10 seconds in my fucking head.
waving something. in
No,
front of his face.
let me be entirely honest.
Yeah.
Is I'm trying to encourage you not to wait the 10 seconds and to do something objectionable in the middle. Maybe I should start doing it again.
I'm gonna say, you can go with your own witty thing.
Yeah, okay.
Good luck.
No, please fucking don't. Jesus fuck. There's a reason why we do things this way. Okay, anyway. Let's dig right in. You have an update on MAGA's Bonnie and Clyde. More
yeah.
stupidity going on
This
here?
is, it turns out that the orange fool made a mistake. And so Clide was more than happy to go testify to the January 6th committee. And he provided information that allows him to track the text messages and emails of people very close to Trump and, inside the stop the steal nonsense and so on.
Sweet.
Right? So this is kind of the core of the violent insurrection on the 6th.
Good.
This is the kind of
Okay, I have a story that actually blends right into this, so go ahead and finish what you're saying.
This is one of the more incredibly idiotic and dangerous genies we have ever poked a fucking stick in the bottle of. Because if you were Russia or China or North Korea could do it, you really wanted to play some games, wouldn't you try and swing an election for the left and get caught? I mean, not the guys caught, but right, because the problem is you need to physically go to the polling place. That's not a problem. Right, anything that's actually considered an army could do that. Right, or 2,000 places, or whatever. It wouldn't take much.
I think you've got to do it to every polling place, which means you have to have a registered voter
No,
who is permitted in to the machine.
I don't need that. I need a guy in utilities, right, who looks like he belongs, maybe with a clipboard, a human with a suit, and they're going to leave a cell phone behind.
We've been finding that these were actively surveilled. So no, it wouldn't be that simple.
I know.
And
Bullshit.
a failure of the surveillance system would have placed them in doubt, and they'd have had to be recertified.
I'm saying you can be outside the building and attack the things. The problem, the way we know no one hacked the computers.
They're not listening on Wi-Fi.
Fine.
Right? They're not attached to anything. How do you need physical access to each machine?
Jesus, if I wanted to, like, we already know how to change an election. You don't attack the machines. I'm saying, what do you do when we find 2,000 cell phones that we don't know where the fuck they belong to, except when someone touched them, they caught on fire, right? Yeah. That to make it, that all you, how do you cause a run on a bank? Hey, the United States, do you know that there is no way the U.S. Financial system would withstand a stress test? They haven't passed a single stress test. In a real collapse, they will all fail again. You tell people that it's going to happen. Okay. The reason why you don't engage in, there's a problem with the thing and the election could have been stolen, is now the IRA could put enough doubt in the water, and the IRA barely exists
So
anymore.
what you're going to do is leave meaningless evidence that people can't interpret and will immediately panic.
And if people don't believe in the government and don't believe in elections, how many people have to behave like it's the end of the democracy before it is?
Fair.
Why are you coaching the Looney Tunes?
Because it won't be the Looney Tunes that do it. These people think the head of the CIA goes on raids.
Yeah.
They think that the Q clearance is interesting because they don't know anyone who's ever worked for Department of Energy. Yep. I don't know, they're not the ones I'm worried about, and the ones who I worry about have already had this thought. That was the point of the meme war they supported. Okay. Was that now they don't have to, right? They could do the meme thing again. They could do all of the troll farms, everything else. We know Facebook doesn't care. Right. Did the check clear? Is the only question social media will ever ask. Amazon will happily serve you detailed viruses in the advertisements. They don't check them for viruses. They don't look for them
Remember
at
to
all.
like, comment, and subscribe to hear us talk more trash about your favorite social media. You're
yeah,
welcome.
No, So that was my point, is that they have gotten that it's the belief in the instability that causes the instability.
Yep.
All right, so you're gonna love love this discussion that this is gonna lead to. So I am calling this section one of the smoking January 6th guns, because I truly believe it is. And originally I was gonna call it the one, but I was like, no, because there's a bunch,
There's
right?
a bunch.
So we're gonna call this one of the many.
Yeah.
So investigators believe November 4th text pushing a strategy to undermine election came from none other than Rick Perry.
Little Ricky there, little Governor Goodhair.
Yeah.
Didn't know which parts of the government he wanted to overthrow.
Rick
Oh, my
Perry,
God.
for those of you who don't know, is the former governor of Texas and was Trump's energy secretary.
Can you just say airhead governor?
Didn't he also run against Trump?
Yes.
Yeah, he ran against Trump in the 2016 election and of course failed. During that election called Trump, God, what was it? A disgrace to conservatism, something along those lines. Anyway.
That sounds a lot like all
The
of
fact that Rick Perry managed to put together 8 coherent words
Yeah.
is shocking in and of itself.
Fair.
someone else wrote it.
I know.
So
We'll get
it
to
is
that.
suspected that Rick Perry sent a text message to Mark Meadows, the then White House chief of staff, saying, and I'm going to quote this, here's an all caps aggressive strategy, why can't the states of GANCPENN and other R-controlled state houses declare the BS, and then in parentheses, where conflicts and election not called that night, unparentheses, and just send their own electors to vote and have it go to the SCOTUS. Now, I want to give some people a quick definition here. So sometimes when you're reading a quote from somebody, you'll see the word sic, S-I-C, in parentheses, and maybe in several places.
Yeah.
The Latin adverb sic means thus or just as, and this phrase in full is sic erat scriptum, which means thus it was written.
Yep.
It's inserted after a quoted word or passage that indicates that the quoted matter has been transcribed or translated exactly as found in the source text, complete with any erroneous, archaic, or otherwise non-standard spelling, punctuation, or grammar. It also applies to any surprising assertion, faulty reasoning, or other matter that might be interpreted as an error of transcription. So
You're doing it to be mean.
this was put in there at least 3 times. I didn't want to put it into the reading because it gets
Agreed.
confusing, but I did see sick in parentheses
Rick
put in
Perry
at least
writes
3
like he
times
thinks.
into the small paragraph.
And doesn't know how to spell the word aggressive.
Yeah, he spelled aggressive wrong. He spelled
Which
another
means
word
he's
wrong.
told his autocorrect his way is right.
Possibly, or he doesn't look at the autocorrect and just types the whole word.
Maybe.
Now, some people might not understand what this text is actually saying. Maybe you, Boomer.
Well, I
can
think
help us
one of the people who
break
didn't
this
understand it is Rick Perry. It is very unlikely that Rick Perry came up with this suggestion.
Nope. That's what someone was sending to him, and they were
And
thinking
he
he
shared
had
it.
better access.
Yeah, it's exactly
No,
what
it was
it
movie.
is.
It was the It's the code word Valkyrie. It's if you're gonna shoot at the king, you better not miss.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna try and seize a democracy, you have to move fast. And
Yeah.
that's what the chaos was supposed to cause.
But I guarantee you, Rick Perry did not come up with those words. He was quoting someone else's
Okay,
recommendation.
but I was just hoping you could help us break it down so that those
He
who
wanted
don't understand
the,
it can
the
understand it.
governments in Georgia, Pennsylvania, what was the other one? North
North Carolina.
to overturn the electors.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that was-
send their own instead of
Right.
the
Yeah, he
real
wanted
ones.
to seize power.
He wanted
Yeah.
Trump's ones to be sent.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
SCOTUS, for those of you who don't know, is referring to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yep.
So that's what SCOTUS means.
SCOTUS, POTUS.
So their intent was to send inappropriate electors for Trump that didn't belong there to go and say,
overturn the
Yes,
election.
this was a recommendation to have an insurrection against the government of the United
abandon
States
democracy.
of America.
To redeclare what type of government
So,
we had.
one of the first things the January 6th committee should do is invite Rick Perry to come explain where that came from
Yep.
under oath.
well, and so here we have multiple people who know Rick Perry have confirmed that the phone number connected to this text is definitely his. So whether he sent it or not, we know it's his phone, and we know it's his personal phone, and we know that he was using that number at this time, and even had it labeled as his phone number when he was energy of director, when he made that
DOE,
when he made that web that Gmail, that was the phone number connected to the Gmail. So this was his phone. Jamie Raskin, a Maryland Democrat, used the text as an example for that more information was needed from Meadows, who was the one that received this text, to clarify the meaning of the message, and suggested holding Meadows in criminal contempt of Congress for refusing to explain it. When he was initially brought in, he refused to explain why or what it might have meant. Now Raskin says, how did this text influence the planning of Mark Meadows and Donald Trump to try to destroy the lawful electoral college majority that had been established by the people of the United States and the states for Joe Biden? These are the kinds of questions that we have a right to ask Mark Meadows.
Yes, and get answers too. I'm quite sure that we won't have any trouble discovering where these suggestions came from. I think they were floating around. Everybody in the Republican Party knew that Trump was going to lose.
Right.
See,
And
I can't complain that don't give him that easy out when I'm about to go, hey, you know the things I was talking about? You know how easy it is to clone a cell phone?
Well, and this is the type of thing I was referring to the other night when I said we were like a phone call and email. We were very close to this election really, truly being messed up, right? Like,
I think we are making a mistake. I think January 6th, right, is Trump's plan, right, to go and have a scary-ass mob do something.
Yeah.
I think he's actually like the sheriff in Los Angeles, so damaged and ravaged by age, he actually cannot enter into a criminal conspiracy. Again, I don't think that should work. I want a doctor to goddamn prove that.
I want to get him
Fucking
charged,
cold water rule.
and we'll
I'm a
argue
nitwit.
that one in court.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's like your point about how there's no way Rick Perry thought of that. I know he didn't, but let his lawyer at least have to think of that. Maybe he'll get one of the bad Texas ones. So, versus the other, like the memos, the rest of the stuff, who were written by people who actually know how the goddamn system works.
Yeah.
Well, this was one of the common suggestions among those who know how the system works.
Yeah, that you have to go through the certification process. All they have is this. If they can really push it out hard, they can make it take place in the House.
Yeah.
And the problem is that one is really parliamentarian, and I think I have no idea what happens if you pull that off.
That was the other reason that they wanted Bill Barr to be talking about the fraud in the election, and of course Bill Barr's not stupid, and he knew there wasn't any meaningful fraud anywhere. And turns out a lot of the fraud we found so far was Republican fraud.
Well, and he knew that the people who were involved were not willing to do the things you need to do to take
That's
power.
right. So anyway,
because Trump will not give the order to shoot. I do not think he has the stomach for it. Which
No,
makes me
he'll-
more
he'll-
afraid of other people he has emboldened.
He'll play around, do you know what I mean? And say, we must do this thing, but never specify what the thing is. He'll say, we must save this other thing, but never specify how to do so.
Yeah. He wants to be there for the good part. For a guy whose entire shtick of, like, hard-nosed business guy was invented by NBC and framed around him firing people.
yeah, just ridiculous.
He can't fire anyone. He cannot have anyone not like him. And if you're firing someone, they're obviously not liking you in the moment.
Well, and his business career has been a disaster. So,
but I behold the power of television.
So do we want to move on?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So what's going on with independent third party effort?
Well, I don't think anybody in America was confused, anybody with an IQ over 70, was confused that Kanye West was actually
I'd like
running
to
in the
point out the American
independent.
system wants obedient children, so the low IQ is the thing. Remember, it's a test designed to tell you which kids are going to act up in school.
Anyway, so nobody believed Kanye West was running an independent campaign. Nobody. You can't be that stupid. But it turns out that they now have evidence that they tried to hide the participation of a number of very high-powered, GOTP firms, right? And
That's actually kind of funny because that means without the crazy, which I think may mean the like crazy base is wildly more important because he was only on the ballot in what, like 6 states?
yep. So
These aren't very high power guys if they can't get it done otherwise.
ballot access is hard. You remember how hard Ross Perot worked for ballot access?
Yeah, no, it's tens of thousands. Like this is my point: is
signatures,
that I'm saying the kids who are stealing money or funneling money off of
Yeah.
whatever, right? Those aren't the ones who can deliver big like bodies of humans.
Yep.
So I just find it interesting that here's the people who should be like heavily plugged into the base, and I know they're not going to pull from the base because you don't want to.
No, what you
in
do
the
is
labor force.
you hire professional
Yeah.
canvassers.
But they didn't.
I know. So anyway, it was it's a standard Trump thing. This big
good
noise
luck.
and a big failure.
And let me go look.
And a lot of money that went various different places. But anyway, the fact that they tried to hide the participation of these individuals and organizations may very well have been federal felonies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully that moves forward.
We'll see if it gets charged.
Yeah. So what's this dereliction of duty? Dereliction?
Yeah, that's at this point we've seen, Merrick Garland has done nothing as far as we know in terms of bringing charges against the one-term orange fool. And there had been so much clear evidence of criminality, and he's done nothing. And so there are some people who are beginning to say in public, this is dereliction of duty, right? They're going to go after the January 6th people, the ones who went to the Capitol and so forth. But, they have no interest in charging the people who are responsible for that, because that might be hard. So, anyway.
Right, it'll cause firefights inside the Justice Department building. But
Good, excellent.
I guess, but
So, one thing we've definitely learned is that Merrick Garland was never qualified to be on the Supreme Court. He has no stones.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
You mean we were going to continue the proud tradition of, I don't know, Jesus, so many, 20, 30 years of putting milk toast on the Supreme Court?
Yep.
It's a good thing there's that many moderates on there. I'd hate to
Oh,
have
yeah.
moderate voices drown in a chorus of...
So
The lunatic right?
I have like a quick little blurb that there's really no good place to shove it into. But for those who are interested, Miss America 2022 winner was announced. It's Emma Broyles, and she was Miss Alaska. So she now
Excellent.
carries the crown.
Cool.
So, for anyone who cared, now you know. And we're going to move on to About Damn Time.
Yeah, I love it when I see these. So 54-year-old fella who went to the Capitol and assaulted a bunch of police and fired a fire extinguisher at him and then threw the empty canister and then recovered the empty canister and threw it again and poked him with a stick. And so he was sentenced to 63 months in prison. So anyway, so he won't be a problem for 35 months or so.
Oh, sounds good.
Anyway, just excellent. And then the other one was one of the Proud Boys supporters who had issued violent threats against elected officials, including Senator Raphael Warnock, Democrat, Georgia, has been sentenced to 33 months in prison.
Oh, good.
So we're beginning to get some of them locked up, which is what needs to happen.
How many months?
33.
Okay, I saw the guy who got 68.
63 is when
Okay.
yeah, that was the other fella.
Okay, yeah. No, those are in line with, right, shooting the fire extinguishers to cops I don't much care about. I mean, what's a fire extinguisher cost?
hurling the object at them.
Yeah, I got some problems with that. And the pole. Throwing a pole at people is genuinely dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm picturing a hollow, like a pipe, and you can really spear some people. Like, don't do it.
Yeah, no, that's not
Use
good
your
thing.
words, the internet.
Yeah. So you have climate weirding update. We got a couple updates. So climate weirding.
Yeah. So again, this, as we get past these weather events in the South and the North Central, everybody keeps saying, well, is this global climate change? Is this influencing it? And so what the climate professionals are saying is it would be very hard to point to say, climate change is responsible for this event, right? Tornadoes are hard to form. You need the
Very
hot, moist air.
specific.
You
Yeah.
need the wind shear to create the rotation. You need lots of things. But what we know with certainty is that we are getting warmer and wetter air further north and further east in the United States
Yeah.
at times of the year when that has not been typically present, right? So again, this is climate weirding, that you're going to see things that you have never seen before in terms of where these storms originate and where they go and so forth, which again is exactly the climate weirding that we know we're going to get as climate change proceeds.
So this is
And so it
potentially-
means that places that you're going to have 100-year-old trees that have never experienced the winds they're about to experience, and they're going to fall on somebody's house.
right.
You're going to have 35-year-old buildings that have never encountered these winds and are suddenly laid flat, right? And then you're going to find out that there are all kinds of states that don't bother to enforce their building codes, and you're going to have a lot of stuff laid flat. So anyway, what we need to understand is that we typically think about what's the worst that can happen from a weather perspective. And to find that out, we go to the climate records. Those aren't any good anymore.
Right. So what you're talking about is this is potentially going to expand or move tornado, that, what's it called?
No.
Tornado Valley.
Tornado Alley.
Tornado Alley. Thank you. My brain was like valley. No, that's not right. But this could potentially expand and
Move it and all
spread.
kinds of different
Yeah.
stuff. And again, we see hurricanes that have strengthened much faster than any typical hurricane, and we've seen several of those, right, where you've stored this enormous amount of energy in the Gulf.
Yep.
So yeah, again, all of your predictions for what does a building need to withstand, what do I need to worry about from a weather perspective, those are all changing, and you don't know how they're changing. So good luck.
Yep.
It's
Well-
going to get worse.
Well, and connected to this, I do want to talk about a cute thing, like a fun thing.
Okay.
Kentuckitties have hit the Northeast Animal Shelter.
What?
So 97 cats were transported up north from tornado-devastated areas to make room in local shelters for all the
Oh.
animals displaced by their tornadoes.
Cool.
So I just wanted to mention it so that y'all can keep your eyes out if you're looking for a new furry friend for similarly displaced animals looking for their new forever homes.
Yeah. Well, but that leaves space for the local shelters to protect the ones that people bring in, and people can go and find their pet.
Exactly.
So,
Well,
yeah.
and that was the intention.
Right.
So this was just a particular Facebook post that I saw, the Northeast Animal Shelter
Yeah.
post about cats. So I'm sure there are dogs and many other types of animals, like any type of furry friend you want. I'm sure that there have been places who have taken them in.
Yeah.
So keep your eye
If
out.
you're missing a furry friend, go have a look.
Well, that too. But these particular animals were in shelters
Right, and
already,
they've been moved.
and
Yeah.
they moved them so that they could make
Yeah.
room. So
That's
so
really nice. I like
yeah.
that.
So I'm sure that dogs have done that. They've done that with dogs and other animals as well. So just
Yeah.
keep your eyes out for those types of animals that
Yep.
were in shelters that now need new
There you go.
homes. So don't forget to look. Go to your shelter if you're looking for a new furry friend. Don't buy from shops. Don't do all that. It's bad.
Yeah.
And if you do buy from a breeder, make sure they're reputable. Make sure that you ask to see the mom and dad of whatever animal you want to get. make sure that you ask for references. If they're a good breeder, they'll give you references. And oftentimes these people who find good breeders they'll talk to you, they'll let you meet their animals. And so do your research if you do want to go to a breeder, because trust me, there are a lot of bad breeders out there, like a lot more than you really want to think about.
Oh, yeah.
So I highly recommend going. If you want a specific breed, there are rescues for every breed of dog, cat, whatever.
Yeah.
They're very specific rescues, and you can find whatever you need. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's move on with this Omicron update.
Oh, God. I mean, we just keep doing this. It's so stupid.
It is.
So Australia had been doing pretty well with COVID.
And then
And they had been, really working the isolation and the testing, contact tracing, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And then they apparently decided that COVID was over and they were going to have some public events. And so Taylor Swift held an album party with 600 plus people. And now 100 of them have COVID.
I'm glad I said no to that.
Yeah. Well, and it would have been the airline trip that would have been worse. But anyway, so now they're frantically doing contact tracing on the idiots who went to a big public event with Taylor Swift. I mean, come on, people, stop this shit. But hey, what the hell? Let's see, what else? No, that's it. I saw that go by and I go, we keep doing this to ourselves.
Yeah.
That we say, hey, COVID's over, let's all get together and have a good time. And it doesn't turn out right.
Somebody was having a surge. I don't remember if it was New York or somebody, but
Everybody's having a surge.
Everybody's seeing record high COVID infection rates. We're still trying to see, I don't think they're doing as much with trying to figure out Omicron, simply because the mass amount of people who are popping up with COVID, to be able to get tests from each of them and check them all, I think it's going to be harder.
It's amazing that so many countries are doing it and we aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We're just, again, our health system totally failed COVID, period.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it wasn't
and
a particularly deadly virus.
We already know that most, significant amounts of COVID cases aren't even being recognized, let alone tracked, let alone, do you know what I mean?
So anyway, the English are beginning to get some data on Omicron. And their data on how contagious is it is much better than the other data. But it says it's about 5 times as contagious as Delta, which was itself much more contagious than the original.
Right.
So anyway, this is going to be a big deal.
Like how
There
it's
are other
subscribing
data.
for original flavored coronavirus.
Yeah. Their initial data on the severity of the disease says that Omicron is not less severe.
Oh, so it's similar to Delta or
Right.
similar to the original COVID?
Delta and original are about the same in terms of lethality.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yep.
know that. I thought Delta wasn't as bad lethal-wise.
No, what's happened is we're better at treating. But with Omicron being this contagious, you're going to be lucky to get into a hospital.
All right, so
Right. Every one of them is going to be totally
all right,
overfilled.
y'all, we're back on lockdown. None of this anymore.
Yeah,
We're done. Look, stay home. If you have to go out, wear your mask. If people around you aren't wearing masks, pick a time when it's not busy. Or actually, even our local Safeway now does online pickup, so you place your order online. Every Walmart, almost every Walmart, will do that for you. You can do online.
Yeah.
So you just do your shopping online. You just pull up into a parking spot. You give them a call or you text them, and they bring out and done. Don't even have to set foot inside the
Otherwise,
store.
go get COVID and spread it to your family and your friends and your neighbors and whine about the results.
Yeah.
So
You
anyway.
do you, people. You do you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about endangered Christmas ornaments.
Oh, this is so sad. So, Godless Sweden puts up their big Christmas decoration is 2 goats, kind of a mama and a baby, right?
Aw.
It's a metal framework and then straw that makes them into goats and so forth. And they're really kind of cute, and but they've also become a thing. And so they have, a number of times from 1966 to now, they have been destroyed in one way or another.
Why have they become a thing? What do you mean by a thing?
Oh, like setting them on fire, running over them, or, whatever.
That's not okay, people.
Anyway, so they had been doing really well. Since 2017, they haven't been murdered. But they were murdered.
Aw.
Burned to the ground. And nothing left but the wireframes. Of course, there's also some days.
We weren't talking about real goats.
No, they're made of straw.
I missed that. I tuned out. Goats.
Oh.
Like, not completely out. I was looking for that story I saw.
Yeah. So anyway, a suspect has been detained. So anyway, we'll see. The fire started in the small goat before spreading to the large goat.
Poor baby goat.
Yeah.
Don't burn things, people. It's not nice. All right.
If you want to burn goats,
So-
burn your own wire goats.
It's an ancient Scandinavian Yuletide decoration.
Aw, that's cute.
So,
So speaking of burning,
Oh, no.
have you guys heard what's going on with Kronos?
No.
Okay. Ultimate Kronos Group is one of the largest human resource companies, serving lots of hospitals across the country, including, and also New York's Metropolitan Transport Authority. So, yeah. Tesla, MGM Resorts International, and many more. On Monday, they suffered a severely damaging ransomware attack. They say it might be down for, they say they might be down for up to several weeks with the damage caused. The company,
Somebody wasn't backing up right.
companies are scrambling to get money to their employees via paper checks and whatever other means they can. There's also concern that employees of companies that use Kronos may have had their names, addresses, phone numbers, and last four of their socials taken. Though that has not been confirmed at this time. But this is a potentially seriously damaging ransomware attack. And, they have hired the best names in ransomware specialists to help them. So we'll see.
if
They
they're
are shutting the
adequately,
shit out of that barn door now. You just watch them. They hired expert barn door shutters, and it's going to be shut so good.
Well, and they say it's related to, what was that thing that was released? I figured you'd know this. Hold on, let me look this up again real quick.
The new Ghostbusters movie.
no, the Java applet that's burying
yeah,
everything.
Save for shell. Maybe.
The what?
Say, log to shell.
Yeah.
Log for shell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So one thing we know is happening. Those attacks are underway.
Yeah.
They have now discovered a third entry point, which is effectively trivial.
No, I'm sure. No, this is going to be.
And so ransomware attacks are going to explode. But they're not going to bother with the ransomware attacks right now. They're going to get their access in place so they can just reach out and send them an email that starts a ransomware attack.
So, the news of the ransomware incident came after a security flaw in widely used software across the internet called Log4j. So, was made public last week, opening the door in many companies.
Yeah, and it wasn't made public last week. It's been out for a month and a half or so.
So it's
Kronos
been in the wild for probably a year.
Kronos has not confirmed that the Log4j vulnerability was what was responsible for them getting into this.
That's because it's not easy to confirm that kind of thing, which is why every competent network administrator is currently standing in their operations center with all their hair on the floor in gobs around them, trying to hunt down the other occurrence.
Or it was like Sony and a senior VP of, oh shit, we still have a department called that. Clicked on a link in their fucking email. Because internet, you and I both know, you click on every link you've ever been presented. You also say, okay, I totally read the terms of service. And you say, okay, yes, I meant to do that when, I don't know. What did it say? I don't know.
Yeah.
It said hit yes to go forward.
Did you get an email from somebody you don't know? then why in the name of God
Did you open
would
it,
you
let alone
touch
click on
any-
any link?
They seem
Yeah.
nice.
Remember that one time that I got that weird email from my uncle?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like really weirded out by it because he sent me a text message asking me for my email address. And I was like, you know my email address. What's going on? And then he didn't reply for a while. So I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, have you talked to uncle, or my uncle in a while? Blah, blah, blah. So we have this little discussion. It turns out, see, my uncle is super flaky. So it was just like he had forgotten or he'd sent it to an old one or something. And
Yeah.
so anyway, he ended up resending me a new email, and it was just a cute little card saying he was thinking of me. But
Oh, okay.
it was.
Except you had to click on it to get it.
And at that point,
But at that
yeah.
point, I had already confirmed that it was
Yeah.
definitely him, and it was
Okay,
definitely
fine.
from him.
Okay.
No, that's because
Yeah.
you know that once you clicked on it, it's already over.
Yeah.
It's like an explosion, only it didn't hurt your ears.
But this was from somebody that I knew, and I was still questioning it because of the way it all happened.
So while
It
we're
was very
talking about
strange.
that kind of security, I keep seeing people say, "Well, I got a friend request, from from something," and I said, "Guys, if you get a friend request from somebody you don't know,
And you can't confirm through a second source.
yeah,
Like, if they're your
don't
friend,
you
just have to-
dare accept them as a Facebook friend,
No.
because any 3 people on your friends list
Yep.
can give your account to anybody."
Yep.
So
They used to use that as a tech demo when they were showing investors how cool it is. They would just sign in to tell me your friend's account. So anyway,
I just
So, speaking of social media and such, I have been a very busy beaver, people. Very busy. Very busy. So, you can now find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Stitcher, Podbean, of course, and Listen Notes.
all right.
We are now on your favorite
Just
podcasting
everywhere.
we're
service.
taking over the internet.
You
Right.
can't miss us, okay?
You really want to get your name carved into the airship early.
And in
Right.
all of these, okay, in all of these, we are BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, except for when we get to our social media, which Facebook, as you all know, YouTube and Twitter. Our Twitter is at BRexTonight. That's the letter BREXTONIGHT.
Cool.
And that's for your Twitter. If there's any other social media that you would like us to sign up for, let me know, because kind of at this point, I don't really care. So if there's something that you use that you would like to see us on,
Right.
comment, like, subscribe, send me a message.
Send money.
Yeah. We should get a parlor and a
She knows.
cab and a whatever the other one is. We should go fight the idiots where they live.
Again, anything you send us goes
The
direct.
metaphorical airship. We'll fly it over them and talk to them.
I will be the first person to see it, so don't worry about these 2 clowns.
That's fair.
Speaking of internet security, yeah, no, that's probably a good idea.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And again, if you ever want to have like just a discussion, or you have any questions and you don't want it to be public, or you want me to, you want us
You
to
just
talk
say hi.
about it.
Send a
in-
picture of your house plant.
Yeah, BoomerRexTonight Facebook. You can private message me there, or again,
Yeah.
we can share stuff in our next show, whatever. So interact with us. We're looking forward to it. We love you all.
Also, if you downloaded the app to change your SMS messaging colors, you probably have bad malware on your Android phone.
Oh no.
So it's been taken down off the Play Store. So
Not a good
luck.
idea. Yeah.
I know, and it's one of those. Yeah, but our kids were all about that, and millennials are about to be targeted by all the malware because they're just old enough to have a pile worth stealing.
All right, now nobody expects the Risen Inquisition.
No.
That's what we're
Calling it
tonight.
tonight, the Risen Inquisition.
The Risen
Cool.
Inquisition. Now remember, this is Teen Vogue Edition Part 4.
You have to say that.
Yeah, I credit where credit's due.
Credit where credit
No,
is
but you've
due.
got peace, and I'm fine with that. But you have to remember that given when I grew up,
Oh yeah.
right, that the little lists of questions and quizzes and so forth.
Oh, even
that
when I
came
was a
out
teenager
for
reading
teenage
Teen
girls.
Oh
Vogue,
no,
let
I
me tell
don't.
you.
I don't think you want to
Oh, it
compare
was terrible.
60 anything Vogue to.
Oh no, not even a little.
Uh-huh,
bit.
that's
It
what
was
I'm
bad
saying.
enough in my years. I can't even imagine what it was back in the day. But
Right.
anyway, we have been
Here's how to cover up a black eye.
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah, no, I wasn't kidding,
Oh,
and that's
God,
an
that's
actual fucking
terrifying.
skill.
Yeah.
Like the people I know who can do that, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it just know how to
Don't
put your
punch each
makeup
other in the
on.
eye, the
Yeah.
internet's.
Yeah.
If anybody gives you a black eye, you give them a black eye back, and you never speak to them
That's
again.
right.
End of discussion. So anyway, our first question of the evening: if you had to create an alter ego for yourself,
Batman,
who would it be, and what would you name them?
Batpool,
Uh,
and I'd be able to pull anything I want out of my pocket. Are you kidding? That's of course what you do if you.
No, it's an alter ego. It's not a superhero ego.
God damn it.
We can put that in a
That's
separate
fucking-
question later.
oh, okay. It's just an alter ego.
Yeah, if you had an alter ego. So, like, say you're, like, a really nice person and you want to have an alter ego who's, like, super badass and will punch everybody in the face who's mean to you. Like, go ahead.
I would like to be excused from this exercise as I am an id that drives a meat muppet.
Yeah.
It's an id.
A little 5-year-old in your head that says you should just eat the things till you vomit and then you can eat more.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of ego.
Yeah.
Ego. Well, look at. So we're gonna listen to some Freud.
Id has historically been associated with the darker emotions and darker impulses.
Okay.
of
But
people.
impulses.
So you
Ego
are...
is your sense of self.
So you
An
are...
alter ego is a different set of sense of self.
So you already are an alter ego of yourself.
Yeah.
So what
I'm
would
an
you...
enigma wrapped in a cheese Danish, snuggled by an orange cat.
I like cheese dishes. So what is the name of your alter ego?
Batpool.
Fine. How about you? Would you, if you
Well-
could create,
No,
or
no,
this
no,
is
no,
if you
no,
had
no,
to.
no,
So
no.
like you're in a situation where they're like putting
Oh.
something in you, and now you have to create this alter ego.
See, she changes
Does
it
it have to be human?
after I give
It just says, okay, if
Okay,
you had
my
to
alter
create
ego
an
is
alter
a
ego
flying
for
snake.
yourself.
A flying venomous snake with
Sure.
great big fangs.
I'd be a flying squirrel with fangs. I like the fangs. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And the flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's an alter ego, so like you're still.
I want to
you.
turn into that
Oh, wait. I
when
don't know.
necessary.
Yeah, no, I like his thing.
And I want to bite people.
So
be fun.
you'll just be running around biting people and being like, "I'm a flying snake, yes."
Yeah, well, flying snake, because I can't imagine anything worse than a flying snake.
Have you seen them? They're so horrible.
Yeah, the ones that flatten
Yeah.
out and fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how far they can go sideways.
Exactly.
Damn.
You can't see that far in a jungle. It's not happening. That's why we should not have wars in the jungle, the internet.
So
New
my
rules.
alter ego would be named Sasha. She would be Russian. And she would be a super spy
That's what's sad
that
about the
can
Russians.
kill everyone.
There you go.
Like the girl from the
Salt.
So here we are
movies.
advocating violence yet again.
The books.
Not me. At
You
worst,
wanted your
flying
flying squirrel
with
to have
fangs.
fangs.
Court
Yeah.
Gentry books. What are they
That would
called?
make it easier.
What are the Court Gentry books called?
The Gray Man.
The Gray
That
Man
would make it
series.
easier
There's
to eat the peanuts.
there's a
Okay.
kick-ass Russian chick in the Gray Man series
There's a
later on.
kick-ass Russian chick in most of the series. In a good
In
way.
The Gray Man series, and
I
my
have a
alter
nice-
ego would be like a more badass version of her.
So why
She's
is
a
it
little-
Russian
she's a
chick?
little
Is it
questionable.
because we like the accent?
I mean, that's almost
It is
for
a cool
certain.
accent.
Plus,
And then I'd be able to speak Russian because she would be Russian, so she could speak Russian.
Russians, right or wrong,
And I don't know why I named
No,
her
it's
Sasha.
true.
It was just the first thing that came
I can
to my
explain
head.
Russians being in any room. I have a hard time explaining Americans being in some rooms. Right now, there aren't that many Epsteins around.
Okay.
Right, a Russian, absolutely. I have no
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, they're the
Cool. What's next?
Yeah.
What's your number one karaoke song? That was a
Only
long
ever
sentence.
War Pigs by Black Sabbath. I know all the words to that song.
Mine is Mr. Brightside by The Killers. I rock that
That was a
song.
good song.
I rock
The Sounds of Silence.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I love
I think
the
that's the
disturbed
only-
version. That is my fucking favorite.
I think that's the
remake.
only song I've ever sung in karaoke.
Oh.
So
What's your favorite piece of random trivia? I know you guys
Random
have one of
trivia.
these.
is that they discovered a millipede that's like 2 feet long,
Oh yeah.
Living way
You told us about
underground.
that the other day.
and it actually has more than 1,000 legs. It's got the one they caught had 1,300 legs.
Jesus, that's a lot of legs.
It's the most amazing millipede I've ever seen.
Fair.
I was just shocked.
What's your favorite piece of random trivia?
That Che Guevara died in Bolivia. I have won more than 2 nights of bar trivia on knowing that.
By knowing that,
Hell
cool.
yeah.
Well, because everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's involved with the Cubans, so Cuba.
Yeah, okay.
No, but he was Argentinian. Argentina. Died being shitty in Bolivia.
Well, he was running away.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's your favorite? What was your first concert? Not your favorite. What was your first concert?
Wu-Tang Clan and Rage Against the Machine.
Mine was
Whatever the
Janet
opening
Jackson.
Thing is. Fuck, you're old.
What, are you kidding me? That bitch was on stage for 3 of the most amazing hours of my life. And we were in the nosebleed section, so we could barely see her. But let me tell you, that bitch didn't stop.
I like
3
that song.
fucking hours? I used to be a dancer. 3 hours
no,
is a
it's
long
crazy.
time
Yeah.
to go all out because she did all her dances.
Well, that's why when people
and
get all things
the
about
chair
the, you know,
thing
oh,
and-
it's all
God,
lip
it was
sync. Yes, of course it
fantastic.
is. I would like to watch you go up and do 15 minutes of their, like, stage show and then just tell me your name. Just tell me your name and what city you're from.
How about you? What was your first concert?
I've only ever been to one concert in my life, and I don't
Okay.
remember who it was.
So that would be considered your first. Wait, you don't remember who it was? How do you only go to one concert and not remember who it was?
I had a lot of fun at that concert.
Do you
Maybe-
remember any of the songs vaguely?
Oh, hell no.
A couple of words?
No.
A tune?
He doesn't
No.
believe music has lyrics.
Jesus.
No, and I did not enjoy the concert and
Oh,
never
well,
bothered to go to another one.
Well, yeah, I
And
guess.
it wasn't that I didn't enjoy the music. I didn't like the crowd. I didn't like the
All right,
the
fine.
whole mess of having to go somewhere, park forever away from someplace, stand in line for 35
Please
minutes
protect my friend was
to
So-
get
working at a
in
remote
to
company.
listen to something that I could have heard on the radio.
This is why we have a boomer on the show, to give you just a completely odd perspective that'll make you go, huh? So you're welcome, internet. Did you ever go to
I
summer
don't like
camp?
flying on. I don't like flying on wide bodies.
You are weird.
No, I've seen what it's like when you try to evacuate an airplane.
Did
And I
you
look
ever?
at that great big tube full of people and go, all right, what are my 2 nearest exits and how am I going to get there before anybody else?
George Carlin told the millennials, you gotta look and plan your route.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause sometimes you might be stuck behind a big fat fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just climb the goddamn seats because fuck them.
Yes.
Anyway, did you ever go to summer camp?
Yes.
Let's go, people.
I did not.
I did.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah,
How did
summer
you
camp
not
was
go
fun.
to summer camp?
I grew up with a state park in my backyard. I lived at summer camp. You can look at my grades and tell, like, nah, it's just always in the woods. What are they doing? I don't know. It's best not to ask.
When's the last time you got to really experience nature? Now remember, these are teens asking their friends these questions. I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed. These are good questions.
Again, these
You
are
mean
30-year-old
really?
Afghan teenagers' questions.
You know.
Fair. But I'm
Those
impressed
are
that
impressive questions,
that
yes.
they've directed it to this level, right?
Yeah.
Because again, we were talking when boomers Vogue questions versus my Vogue questions versus today's women's Vogue questions, teen Vogue questions. It's just such a huge improvement.
Yes.
Seriously.
Nope, absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm.
I would point to the camping at North Rim and,
Yeah.
you know, that trip.
Or at least one of those trips, because I may also be thinking of Bryce Canyon. And...
Well, yeah, I mean,
What's
Bryce,
the really
we were
windy
along.
one?
The last time
And it's got the good squirrels.
I really experienced nature
That's North Rim.
Okay.
Has the
was
good
I
squirrels.
love
when
squirrels.
we went hiking with your sister and her husband.
Oh, that's true. That was the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah, because we drove up to a place called Happy Valley, and there's a road that you have to take. And if you're curious, go to TikTok and search for RisenLadyHeathen, and you got to scroll down. But there's I called it Danger Zone Part 1, 2, and 3, so you can find it. But it's hysterical because the videos don't do it justice, but you're on this road that is literally just wide enough for the truck, and it sheer drops on either side.
Yeah.
And the road is half washed out because they don't keep it up. And so the truck is vicariously rocking back and forth, and you're like, oh my God, we're going to die. We're going to die. We are extra going to die. And
I
then
hope you were in his truck.
Yeah.
Not one of mine.
Oh
Mine.
no! He was driving.
Yeah.
I would never drive this. We actually parked my Jeep at the bottom.
Well,
and
we
took
would
the
have. We
truck.
did when back before the camper went on the truck.
Okay.
But anyway, so it was just absolutely terrifying. But we ended up hiking at least a mile up to the top of this very pretty hill and found a
Okay.
bunch of rose quartz.
All right.
So that was fun. Do you feel you're young at heart or an old soul?
I think it depends on which day you ask me that
That's
question.
a much nicer answer because
No, no.
all I had was like verbal sneer. Like
My answer is I am both. I am young at heart and I am an old soul.
yeah.
I am both things.
Okay, and I hadn't actually thought about the phrase "old soul."
So like my son, when he was younger,
Yeah.
was my mom's friends would always call him an old soul because we never spoke to him, we never did baby talk with him, we always spoke to him like an adult.
Yes.
Not that we treated him like one, but we
Yeah.
spoke to him like one, and so he talked like one.
You
and
have
he
to.
knew-
They're trying to learn.
Yeah.
He knew things that other children didn't know about. He played games that maybe kids his age weren't into yet because he was much more advanced because we were all about computers, all about video games.
Yeah.
He was watching us play Mass Effect and would walk around with a backpack and a fake like Nerf gun and be like, "I'm Commander Shepard," and
There
it
you
was
go.
the cutest thing ever. And he would play Commander Shepard, and it was adorable. So he so they would call him an old soul just because he was much more knowledgeable than your average kid his age you would find.
Yeah.
I even found it very interesting when he got into school, meeting his friends who were actually, because he's the youngest, because he got in just before the cutoff, right? So if he'd been born a few days later, he would have had to wait a year.
Yeah.
But all of his friends are like a year older than him, and they are behind him emotionally and mentally by at least a couple of years. It's really interesting.
Well, you've done a good job talking to him like an adult the whole
Yeah.
time.
That's fair.
Excellent.
No, I don't accept childish answers. So, those were the questions from what we had left over from the other
So
guy.
only one kind of question. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's
And there are
an
more to
ad
go,
question.
right?
No, but of the I don't know what other questions
one
you
was the
haven't picked.
question?
The
He
old
felt
soul,
like the
heart.
young heart or old soul.
And again, a lot of that's I just hung out with a lot of faux deep kids, so I've heard incarnations of
Oh
that
God.
too
Yeah.
many
I
times.
can see that.
And they think it's
And those are words that would never pass my lips. I'm an old soul.
I know. And I look at people when they say they are, or they tell me I am, and
No, you just see 85% of the world as being ironic,
yeah,
which is absolutely accurate.
like,
But
let me
you're
know how
open.
snarking all the way down
You're
goes.
open. You're open to the other 15% and going and seeing. So
I was just gonna
Yeah.
point out, I think most of the in fact, it may even be in the plays. I'd have to go look. Like there were funny slaves in Roman times.
oh God.
I don't know.
You drove 1,200 miles to see a solar eclipse,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
and then you drove back.
Yeah,
Oh God, death
I
march.
just like doing things.
Yeah.
So, final words for the evening? Anybody?
Rutabaga.
Nobody said the final word had to make sense. I said, folks, we are sometimes very hard on some folks who have been very badly tricked
Yes,
by Trump and the Republican Party.
I agree.
And I know a number of people that I would put in that category.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good, decent, honest people.
No, they believe that they're
So-
doing the right thing or believing the right thing, and that's the most
But I know-
heart-wrenching part of it.
I
It
know
really
a couple
is.
of them who were too smart to believe that shit, and they're just leading people astray.
I know.
And you didn't often get to see it happen. You didn't get to
Yeah.
see somebody talking to the sad girl in Oklahoma saying, no, come out to New Orleans, it'll be great. You totally won't get trafficked.
Yeah.
So, no,
Or come to Dallas with me and wait for JFK Jr. to
Oh, yeah.
arrive and announce that Trump is still president.
well, we're holding
Say,
on to our physical
what?
beings too much. We may have to. Yeah, no, they start saying all the words like
More and more
they're
like a
all
death
gonna
cult.
turn up dead somewhere.
Yeah.
Some
So-
park ranger's gonna have a bad paper-filled morning.
Don't forget to find us on all your favorite podcasting services, and there's going to be more every day. I'm waiting for approval on a few because some of them like drag their feet and take forever. But I've been signing up for new ones every day. So I'm hoping to get us on at least 15 different services within the next couple weeks, and hopefully a few more, in the next 3 weeks. But I'll keep you updated. But you have the list for tonight. Again, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find us now. So you can listen to us in
Anywhere,
your car,
yeah.
at work, on the go, doing your dishes, doing your laundry. I don't care. We are there and we're here for you.
Right.
So don't forget to also like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube, on our Podbean, and everywhere you find us.
Yep.
Download us as many times as you can. Steal your friend's phone, download us on them. Whatever you got to do to make it happen. We love you all, and we will see you back here tomorrow night on BoomerRexTonight.
You want to see what happens when you wag your little finger at me?